Well, we enjoyed having Loki stay with us at the dog couch. I'm gonna go through Loki's obedience. So first thing we do is the heel. So remember, Loki's always on my left side. I've got slack in the leash. I'm gonna step off. I'm gonna say Loki heel. Now remember, it's Loki's job to keep his head near my left knee. But when we get into specifics, I never want his eyes passing into my left toe while we're walking. Okay. So if Loki was to get in front of me, immediately collar turns on. You're holding down that black or that red S button. You stop walking at the same time and you pull the leash back till he gets back to your left stationary leg, which ideally you kick back a little bit farther so it makes it very clear you're supposed to find that left leg. He gets back to the left leg with his head, the collar turns off, the leash goes loose, and at the same time I say Loki heel and I step off again. So it happens very quick. So here I've actually stopped and I put him in a sit. He went into a sit, great. If he didn't go into a sit, remember, collar turns on, either the black S button or the red, which is a jump button if we need to. Upward leash pressure, backwards towards his tail. Both the collar pressure and the leash pressure would cease at that point once behavior is completed, which means he's going to sit. But if I say, look, he's sitting, he sits, again, nothing happens. We make it very fair to the dog. So we're healing. We got a really nice picture here with him. It looks really, really nice what we're doing. We've got correct positioning. I've got my hand by my waist. That's really important. Really try to watch where your hand position is by your waist, and keep that slack in the leash. The only time there should be tension in the leash is because the collar's on and he's out of position, okay? And he matches your pace. You don't match his, okay? You can change speeds. What I do when I'm doing drastic speed changes is I remind him to heel. And I can talk to him right here. I can be like, hey, okay, good heel, my man. Good job. Let him know he's doing good, okay? But I don't nag him for getting out of position. There's always using the collar for that, so I don't have to get after him constantly. And then I get this picture. Now, if he was to start barking at somebody while we're on a walk, I will correct him for that, remind him to heel, okay? Also, if he puts his nose to the ground, that's a quick upward pop with the collar or upward pop with the leash, and at the same time I tap the button, okay? His nose is not allowed to go to the ground when we're healing. If we say free, nose can go to the ground, but when we're healing, the nose cannot go to the ground, okay? Just enforce these rules. Now remember, if Loki gets behind us while we're healing, collar turns on till he catches up to our left leg. We don't stop walking on that point anytime he gets behind us. And left side is his only option. He can't go to my right. He can't go behind me. This is it. So here I say, Loki, sit, and he goes into a sit. Okay, now I'm actually going to step away from him. Okay, so again, we don't use the word stay. Sit is sit. Now, I don't want to call him back from this position. That's super, super important. I want him to lock this down like we were talking about. So if he was to get up, it's very important. Immediately the collar would turn on. If he didn't immediately sit, collar stays on. I grab the leash. I take him all the way back to the original place where he was supposed to be. Only then does the collar turn off and the leash pressure cease once he's back in a sit in the original location. Again, we never call him back from here, right? Because we don't want anticipation. We're going to come up to release him. So we're going to walk up, and we're going to use this as a free command. Or I could walk up and say, Loki, heel, and we could start healing again, okay? But I let him know what's next, okay? When I get there. And that's super, super important that we enforce it like this, okay? And again, occasional food rewards are great, but let's not be dependent on anything like that. So now I say free just like that. Okay, now we're going to do the recall. So it's Loki here. And as long as he's moving towards me, everything's awesome. But if I say Loki here and he's not coming towards me within 2 seconds, remember, this is where it's different with the collar. The collar turns on, but the second he takes a step in my direction, immediately it turns off. And as long as he follows through, the collar stays off. But if I have to turn it on to get him going again, I will till he starts moving to me. But I also cheerlead him like that. I let him know what a good job he's doing. Just like that, you can kind of see my hands go up, okay? Last thing we're going to do is the place bed. So I say Loki place. And remember, we never tell Loki to sit. We never tell Loki to down. He's free to move around on the bed. What Loki cannot do is bark or whine. That would be a correction. And if he barked, I would give it a couple seconds between corrections. I don't hit it rapidly. I just tap it. He does it again. I tap it again. I generally won't even say anything. I want this to be a correction that he gets nothing out of. He gets no verbal acknowledgement out of that for me, because that's usually what he's looking for when they're barking on the bed, right? Okay. So again, never, ever release him off the bed. If he got off from a distance, if he got off the bed right here, immediately the collar would turn on. And it would stay on until either he corrects on his own or I help him, because remember, we're going to use the leash under supervision in the house for the next 2 weeks, a short leash, okay? That's super, super important with him. So if he got off immediately, the paw hits the ground, collar turns on, and it stays on until he gets on the bed, whether if I have to help him with the leash or not, the collar does not turn off. Even if I have to hit the refresh button on that button on the collar after 12 seconds so it doesn't shut off. So to release him, you saw how I did it. Hand underneath the chin, I walked up confidently, I said, Loki, free, and I got him off the bed. Same way when I send him to the bed. I'm walking, I'm moving confidently towards the bed. I say, Loki, place. He goes towards the bed. If he didn't, the collar turns on, and it with the leash pressure all the way till the behavior is completed. Because remember, we're going to increase the distance by about 2 feet per day as long as it's going good. And we're moving towards the bed when we say place. If we get hesitation or he doesn't go, at that point, collar turns on, followed by leash pressure, and neither of those cease until the behavior is completed, which means we've got 4 paws on the bed. So that what happens with that then is he's tested a few times during the next 2 weeks as we're increasing the distance. So when that leash comes off, he knows there's only one way to turn that collar off when he's supposed to go to place, and that is to get to the place bed. Okay. Other than that, make sure we make adjustments with that e-collar 2 levels at a time. Where we're going up or down, don't be afraid to. If you know that collar is snug, the dog shows you he understands the behavior. So there has to be a consequence if he doesn't do it. And we're not going to nag him. Then when we don't nag him, then we don't have to use the collar that much because he just learns it's just easier to do it. Okay. I put my hand underneath his chin. I say, Loki, free. I help him off the bed. Now we're going to pivot around and we're going to walk him right back towards the bed. So I'm walking towards the bed. Last time I say, Loki, place. He goes towards the bed just like this. Okay. Now, other than that, make sure you take that collar off at least, when you sleep at night, when you're gone at work during the day, that collar is not on him. But the collar while he's home with you during the day and the evening, it's on as long as he's supervised. And remember, we're going to use the leash in the house for 2 days. We move that collar to a different location every day on his neck. Those are the big things. Well, we enjoyed having him. He's been a blast to train. And here I'm going to get him off one more time. I say, Loki, free, and I help him off the bed just like that.